Your net worth. It's more than just a number on a screen. It's a mirror reflecting your life, your victories, your losses, your choices. It's a window into who you are, where you've been, and where you might be headed. But few people ever stop to realize just how much that single number truly reveals. Not just about money, but about you. To understand net worth, the formula seems simple enough. You take every dollar you own, every coin in your wallet, every cent in your savings account, every share, every piece of land, every car, and every possession, and you add them all together. Then you subtract what you owe. Credit cards, student loans, mortgages, medical debts, everything that weighs you down. The number left behind is your net worth. That number isn't just math. It's your financial fingerprint, unique, personal, alive. It tells the story of every decision, every sacrifice, and every chance you've ever taken. Assets are more than money in the bank. They are your home, your car, your business, your jewelry, your land, every part of your life that holds value. Combine it all, then subtract the debts, the things you still owe, and what's left defines the footprint you leave in the world of wealth. Now, let's zoom out. Let's step away from the individual and look at the bigger picture, America itself. According to the U.S. Federal Reserve, Americans together hold a mind-bending $160.35 trillion in wealth. Trillion with a T. A number so large it's almost impossible to imagine. But here's the catch. It's not shared equally. Not even close. The average American net worth sits at about $1.06 million. Sounds impressive, right? But numbers can lie. That average is stretched and twisted by the weight of the ultra-rich, the billionaires, the top 1%, whose fortunes tower above the rest. They own over 30% of the nation's entire wealth. Their riches pull the average higher, creating a mirage of prosperity that most people will never touch. The truth is in the median, the number right in the middle. That's about $192,700. Half of all Americans have more, half have less, and most are nowhere near that million-dollar dream. Now imagine this. America, 340 million people, every man, woman, and child. What if somehow we could divide all the nation's wealth equally among everyone? Every single person, rich or poor, young or old, would suddenly hold $471,165, almost $500,000 each. What would happen if this came true? I asked an AI, and the answer was beyond belief. First, the economy would erupt like a storm, a shockwave unlike anything in human history. $500,000 landing in every hand at once. It would unleash one of the biggest spending frenzies the world has ever seen. People would rush to pay off debts, buy homes, upgrade cars, travel the world, or finally chase the lives they've always dreamed of. It would be chaos, glorious, electric chaos. Picture it, millions of families flooding car dealerships, fighting over the last new vehicles on the lot. Housing markets erupting as bidding wars send prices skyrocketing overnight. Student loans, medical bills, and credit cards wiped clean in seconds. Demand would explode, the economy would roar, and the numbers would climb higher than ever before. But with that rise would come something darker: inflation. Prices would soar just as fast as the money burned through people's hands. Groceries, gas, rent, everything would become more expensive as the nation scrambled to adjust. Yet for a moment, something incredible would happen. Poverty would collapse. Homelessness could almost vanish. Families trapped in toxic cycles could finally break free. Children would step into better schools. People could finally see doctors without fear of bills. And the dream of social mobility, the ability to climb out of where you were born, would finally feel real. Generational gaps, racial divides, class barriers, they might all begin to blur. A glimpse of equality at last, but money alone doesn't fix what's broken. Without knowledge, without planning, that wealth could vanish as quickly as it appeared. History tells us this: sudden riches often fade. People might spend wildly, unaware of taxes, inflation, or investment. In a few short years, the gift could be gone, replaced by higher prices, new debts, and old habits, and the ripples wouldn't stop at America's shores. The world would feel the shock. Inflation would push the U.S. Federal Reserve to raise interest rates sky high. Global lending would tighten. Imports and exports would go wild as Americans bought more from China, India, and Vietnam. Oil prices would surge as planes and cars filled the roads and skies. Ports and shipping lanes would overflow. The stock market might soar, then stumble as panic and uncertainty crept in. And the US dollar, the backbone of global trade, could weaken, shaking nations that depend on it. A single act of redistribution could rattle the entire planet. Then there's the logistics. How could something like this even happen? So much of the 1%'s wealth isn't in cash. It's tied up in stocks, real estate, businesses. To move it, governments would have to act boldly, taxing fortunes, forcing asset sales, converting billions into digital credits or cash. But that's no small task. Sell off too much too fast and markets could crash. Retirement accounts could vanish. Pensions could crumble. You can't just pull trillions out of the sky without shaking the ground beneath it. Digital credits, phased transfers, maybe government-issued tokens, those might soften the impact. But even then, lawsuits would erupt. Property rights in America run deep. The wealthy would fight back with every weapon they have: lawyers, lobbyists, influence, control, because this isn't just about money. It's about power. But what about the people? What would ordinary Americans do with their sudden fortune? Many would walk away from their jobs, retire early, or chase dreams long buried under bills and fear. Your barista could become a painter. Your Uber driver might buy land in Montana and start a farm. Dreams would awaken across the nation, but not every job could be abandoned. The world still needs nurses, teachers, garbage collectors, grocery clerks. If they all walked away, cities could crumble. To bring them back, wages would have to soar. Janitors making $80,000 a year, factory workers earning six figures. And as humans step back, machines step forward. Automation would surge. Robots and AI would quietly fill the gaps humans left behind. Then, slowly, things would begin to settle. Because people don't just need money, they need meaning. Work gives structure, purpose, connection. Some would return to their jobs, but this time, on their own terms. They'd work not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Offices could become more peaceful, workplaces more human. For a while, the world might actually feel balanced. Inequality would shrink overnight. The shame of poverty could fade. Neighborhoods could blend, rich and poor, side by side. Healthcare, education, home ownership, all within reach. Zip codes would no longer define destiny. Children would grow up in safer streets. Families would breathe easier. And for once, the American dream might feel real. But time has a way of reminding us of human nature. Soon, patterns would return. Some would save, invest, and multiply their new wealth. Others would spend quickly, pulled by temptation, lost in the rush of newfound freedom. And as the dust settled, the same old story would slowly rewrite itself. The gap would grow again. New rich, new poor, new hierarchies. It's like a game of Monopoly. You can reset the board, give everyone the same money, but before long, someone owns Boardwalk again and someone else is bankrupt. The game isn't broken. The rules are. So what would this grand experiment really prove? That wealth isn't only about money, it's about systems, knowledge, and opportunity. Giving everyone $471,000 could spark a new beginning for millions, yes. But it could also ignite chaos, inflation, shortages, and a rebirth of inequality in new, more complex forms. Because true wealth isn't what you're given. It's what you do with it, how you grow it, how you protect it, how you use it to build, to help, to endure. A sudden windfall could feel like freedom, limitless, dazzling. But without guidance, without understanding, it could quickly turn into confusion and loss. America could change overnight. Lives could rise. Communities could bloom. But in the end, it would remind us of one eternal truth. Money alone never changes the world. People do. Every dollar carries power. Every decision shapes destiny. And the story of wealth isn't just about what's in your bank account. It's about the choices you make when it finally becomes yours.